Hello, everyone. It is Aaron back from this hiatus that we've had. We've not really had a lot of programming projects that have been assigned to us in data structures lately, so I decided that I would take the time and program something else just to kind of review on some things. We had the programming competition on last Saturday, and during that, we noticed that a lot of people use Python for competition programming. That's mainly because you don't have to do like set up a class and a main and all that just to get started. It's a lot easier. You don't have to type anything at the very beginning. Um, the hope is to be going over some of those later. However, today this program we're going to be doing is in Python, and this is also for Dr. Wells's Calc 2 class. If anyone has his class, this code basically automatically calculates your grade for that class based off of what he hands back, since he doesn't actually post his stuff on Canvas. Now, since it's in Python, of course, if you double click on it, it will automatically open a terminal window. This is basically what the output looks like. Quiz, subscore, exam, like it has all those parts. And it looks nice and pretty. So, we're going to go ahead and open this in Visual Studio Code because I like that a lot more. So, basically, Python for this program is pulling everything from this file. And the way that it's called grades.txt, that's hard coded into it. But the way that you do it is all of his quizzes are out of 10 points. So that's 6 out of 10. That's one quiz. That's another quiz. That's another quiz. So it makes it really simple whenever you go through, at least whenever you're pulling the data, to actually crunch the numbers and everything. Everything's at a set point. So I'll go back over here for a second. It's important to note that you do need to take track of your absences in that class, because as you'll see later on the code, if you miss less than 4 times, you are allowed to drop your lowest exam grade. So I've programmed that in as well in here. So let's go ahead and get to it. This is just a header. If anyone ever ends up opening the actual Python folder, they'll find that. I'll also have this program on my flash drive if anyone sees me around and they want to get this file. So we're going to open where our grades are at using file reader equals open. That the part in the in the quotation marks right there is the actual string of the file name. That means that we're going to be reading from it. You can also just have just grades.txt because read is the default. So what we're going to do is that we're going to read the first line and we're going to throw that away. That's just the header that says quizzes, so you know where to put your quizzes. We don't need that. So quiz grade is going to equal that line. So that line is obviously a string. So then we're going to go ahead and split the string. Whenever you do dot split, it automatically splits on the white space and gets rid of any new line characters or anything like that. So your list will just be a string of 1, 2, 3. Like there will be no spaces or anything. This line, line number 23, basically what this is doing, we never talked about this in Dr. Crawley's class. Basically what this is doing is this is just iterating through it very quickly. It's its own little for loop. Basically it's saying for the integer I in quiz grades, we want to transform that into an int. Remember with for loops in Python that the in actually means that it will iterate through. You're not getting the index. I does not equal the index. I equals the value at that iteration. So that's a little bit nice thing about Python. Then what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to take quizmin1, set that to 100, quizmin2, set that to 99, doesn't matter what you set those two as, they just have to be higher than a normal quiz grade, and Quizmin 1 has to be higher than Quizmin 2, and I will show you why in a minute. Our earned points is going to be 0. Obviously, at this point, we haven't earned anything yet. Quiz total points is going to be equal to 0 because, again, we haven't taken any quizzes yet, according to the program. So this for loop is doing what we said before, the quiz in quiz grades. So it's actually going through and pulling in our list, which, think of a list like an array, but more flexible in Python. So it's going and grabbing that value automatically for us in quiz grades. And so we go through and say if quiz is less than Quizmin 2. The reason why is that if that quiz is lower than the lowest value, then we can go ahead and set Quizmin 1 equal to Quizmin 2, and then Quizmin 2 is equal to the quiz. So basically nothing is going to be lower. If something's lower than the lowest minimum, then the highest minimum has to then become the lowest minimum. I know that sounds really weird. If I had a whiteboard, I would try and explain it to you, but I don't know how to get that view. Then outside of that if loop, or if conditional, we then do the earn points is equal to whatever's in that spot, because that's what we're putting in here. Like 6 is we earned 6 points. So we go through and say, okay, we'll add 6 to our total earned points. That's pretty simple. Total points will always be incremented by 10, and that's because his quizzes are always out of 10 points. Total points, at the very end, we'll subtract 20. And the subtraction of 20 is because we're subtracting 2 minimum quizzes. Here we're going to do quiz earned points is equal to the subtraction of Quizmin 1 plus Quizmin 2. This actually messed me up at some point, and I'm going to show you what I had before was that. And that's actually wrong. That's completely and totally wrong. And here's why. Basically, whenever we do that, we're saying, whenever we do the minus equals, we're saying that's equal to quiz earned points minus what, this is essentially parentheses. So what I was saying is that. And we don't want to say that, because that's saying, okay, you can distribute that in, so that would be quiz earned points minus Quizmin 1 plus Quizmin 2. We want to have that right there. So just keep in mind whenever you do the minus equals, that's what that's saying. So we can get rid of those parentheses now. And then that's the entire quiz section. The quizzes are done in 15 lines of code. That was pretty simple. Shut up. So this one does the exact same thing for the exams, except it's only tracking one minimum, because like we said before, you can only dock one grade. It also won't do these last two calculations yet. It'll do that whenever we pull the absences, which are all the way at the bottom. So that'll be the last thing that we do. So it's going to go ahead and read the first line, which is the title. We don't need that. And then exam grades is going to be equal to that. We're going to split on the white space. Going to convert everything in the list to a float. I just realized that. It still runs. Like, it doesn't change anything. Exam min 1 is going to equal 110 because there is no way that we can get 110 points on exam. That's entirely impossible. The highest that we can possibly get is that he has a special exam, and if you pull that piece of paper, you get plus 5 points. So that even accounts for that. So at least have it greater than 105, just in case you're a god somehow at Calc 2. Going to make the earned points equal to 0 and the total points, because according to the program, we haven't done them yet. remember the for loop will go through and actually pull the scores from that list. This is just saying if it's lower than the minimum, it equals the minimum. Adds it all up, adds that all up. That one increments by 100 because that's what his exams are out of. And then that's it. Like I said before, we're not doing the subtracting of the minimums because we don't know if we've been at class enough yet. This will pull the trig exam. The trig exam is an exam that he requires everyone to take, and whenever you take the exam, you have to get a 100% or above a 90%, which is why we have to still divide it and get the actual percentage and all that. So basically, this reads the line of the title, then it reads the next line. We're still going to go ahead and split it so that way we can get it into list form. And it's going to be a list with only one element, which we know. But it's just that this is how I kind of thought about it is, we can have a default start process. So the 3 lines are always the same. So we're always reading the first line, which is the title. We're setting the second line equal to trig grade. And then we're making the third line and splitting it up. Then all we have to do to actually get that value is transfer it into a float at that 0 index. And then total points is equal to 50. That's all that is. This pulls the final exam subscores, and it's the same with a different constant. All 4 of these lines are exactly the same. And then his exam is out of 200, so we put it out of 200. Now we're hitting the absences. So it's going to read the first line, of course, and toss it in the trash. No one cares about it. Absences is equal to filereader.readLine. So that gets our value, which in this case is 0. It splits it. It makes it a float, just like before. The only thing that it does here now is that if the absences is less than 4, which if it's less than 4, you're able to drop the exam grade, it will subtract the minimum exam grade, and it will drop 100 points from the total. And then that's pretty much all the actual programming thoughts. We're then going to go through and get our subscores, because I want to be able to see that. So our quiz subscore is the earned over total for all of these. And then the final grade is all the earneds added up divided by all the totals added up. And then we go through and print. Now, if you took Dr. Crawley's class in fall of 2017, Python has done a little bit of an update to formatting. If you remember back in formatting a print statement, we would use %sign .2f or whatever we wanted to do. That's changed, and that's actually no longer accepted in Python. So what we want to do is we want to say print, just a normal print statement, and we're just going to say our normal string. Once we hit here, we're going to do open squiggly line, colon, 7, which is the total amount of actual spaces that we want. 0.2 is the amount after the decimal point. And %sign is an actual, I guess you could say, data type. What %sign actually does whenever you do, because you'll do dot format and then whatever variable you're wanting to format, and that's sent or in that statement. The %sign is a special kind of format that's meant for percentages. So you pass it something that is like, if I wanted to pass it a percentage, I would pass it 0.75, and then that will automatically print 75%. I don't have to have a percent symbol here because it also automatically prints the percent. Which is why you might be thinking, oh hey, this should probably be 6.2%, but you also have to account, it wants you to account for the extra percent space as well, and it will, I guess you could say, automatically put it and therefore it's another thing that you have to think about, not just the decimal point. But it's really quite nice for something like this, because then we don't have to go up here and multiply by 100 for all these things. It's quite nice. So we just go through, do that for all. That's just creating a new line because I want there to be kind of a separation. And then we do that. The input allows me to be able to just click on the actual Python file in my flash drive and it not just flash up and go away immediately. And then you could just press enter and it'll go away. And then file reader.close. That closes the thing that the actual file that we opened all the way up there. Now, if you did this along with me in Python or in Visual Studio Code, I'm going to actually show you how to run this. Go away. So, this also works if you're on a normal terminal, of course. So if you end up doing a programming competition and you want to use Python, it'll be the exact same steps. So to actually run our file through terminal, what we're going to type in is we're going to type in Python. Oh, this keyboard. Python, and then space, and then your file name. Let me actually move that. Grade calculator.py. Whenever I press enter now, this will actually run it in the IDE. And so kind of the way it works is that Python is a keyword that opens the IDE and will automatically run your file. So it's like whenever you're editing it in the IDE and you press that one F key, that automatically runs it. This is basically doing the same thing. So we'll just go ahead and press enter, and then it runs it. I can obviously press enter again, and then it takes me out of the IDE. If you want to stay in the IDE, you can just type in Python, and then we're automatically taken into the IDE. And then I think I can do this. Okay, it's just better to close out of it, I guess. So to close out of the IDE, if you accidentally just type Python, you're going to type close, begin, paren, end paren. No, you're not. Just don't type Python. Oh, there we go. It's exit, begin parentheses, end parentheses. And now we're out of the IDE. So type Python and then your file name and it'll run it. So yeah, I hope that was helpful for you guys. Like I said before, if you have Dr. Wells's Calc 2 class, or if it's set up the same way for Calc 1 or his other classes and you would like this grade calculator, I would be more than happy and willing to give it to you. Just let me know and I'll transfer it over. I keep my flash drive on me at all times. So just whenever you want to catch me, be like, hey, can I get this from you? Or you can send me an email at that email and I will send you a zip folder with both parts, the grade.txt file and the gradecalculator.py file. So yeah, I hope that was a trip down memory lane for most of you. As you can see, if we just open it there, we get that, and I'll leave it on that to finish talking. But yeah, while we haven't had a lot of actual programming assignments lately, I'll go ahead and show you what I've been working on right now. We had the first programming competition, and we had 8 problems that you have to try and complete in a certain amount of time. I'm currently in the process of typing all of these up, like this one, exactly how we got it, like with text boxes and everything. So this is taking me a little bit, but hopefully by the time I get them all done, you guys will actually be able to go over these. I want to try and get all the sample inputs and outputs as well from the professors that ran it. But I'm still working on that right now. But like I still haven't done, I might have done this one. Yeah, no. I'm still working on a couple of them, actually typing them up. But the goal is to be able to go through this in Python and Java and use them as refresher courses for everyone. Because I know whenever I just tried to do all that stuff in Python, it was definitely where's that thing again? Calc 2. Yeah, this was definitely a pain to go through and do again, which was kind of annoying just because I completely forgot Python and how it works. So yeah, if you have any questions with that, just let me know. Nice little thing to do if you're bored or whatever, which if you're bored, I sympathize. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and yeah, see you guys around.